A very good afternoon. Welcome to BBC London. I'm Thomas Magill. Well, as you've been hearing, it's been a day of celebration and remembrance across the capital to mark VE Day. Among the many events is a party that's currently in full swing on board HMS Belfast, which is moored on the Thames. A Royal Navy gun salute is planned for later. Well, let's cross to our reporter Wendy Hurrell, who is there for us. Wendy.
Well, Thomas, there is a chilly wind blowing along the River Thames, but a warm welcome to a tea party here on HMS Belfast. And among those invited, some remember living through the war, such as Bernard Smale. He was 12 years old when he was evacuated from his home in Dulwich. Returning later in the war to London, remembers 3 near misses of V1 rockets. And he had an incredible experience of missing his brother. So amongst the jubilation and the celebrations for VE Day, of course, there is a tinge of sadness, as you'll hear from him now.
I go through so much without thinking about my brother, and it brings back my brother. My brother was 7 years older than me, and I've got lovely pictures of him and I before the war, coming back with sandcastles from the beach. War started, goes straight into the RAF, gets in a bomber, goes into Germany, comes back and gets blown to pieces at 21. So when you say, you know, what do I think of, I suddenly remember him having his life cut short. And I find I'm very emotional when I...
Yeah, I can understand that. Bernard there remembering his brother Ronald. And sadly, as the years go past, there are fewer people that have those kinds of memories that lived through the Second World War. So it's ever more important that those stories are passed through the generations. And that's what the Imperial War Museum does here on HMS Belfast, particularly for the sea cadets that meet here every week. And Anna O'Neill has spent the day with them, getting their thoughts on the VE Day commemorations.
Ship's company, ho! Turn!
Roll call for the City of London Sea Cadets aboard a floating museum and one of the only remaining ships to have supported troops in Normandy in World War II. The cadets meet here on HMS Belfast twice a week for training and activities.
You get to do things like going outside, boating, community service like funding and all of that, and getting to learn orders.
It's really nice to be able to connect with the history of the ship. It makes teaching nautical subjects so much easier because it's much nicer to be able to teach port and starboard on an actual ship.
Not many cadets are on HMS Belfast. I mean, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something to brag about with other units. Yeah, it's very nice to speak with them, and then if they start some sort of argument, we can just say, we're on a boat, you're not.
And as well as bragging rights, being on board on the 80th anniversary of VE Day means a lot to these young people.
I think it's one of the most prominent examples of standing up to bullies, really.
So we've done a lot on VE Day. I think, it was a monumental moment at the end of probably, I would say, the biggest war of the century, of the history of humanity.
So my grandfather was on a ship called HMS Antwerp.
One of the staff has a personal connection to World War II. Claire's grandfather, Dennis Roach, took part in the Allied invasion of Sicily in 1943.
Making them understand what actually VE Day is, what it stands for. But I think when you give it a personal spin, they understand it a lot more. How would they feel if that was their grandparent or dad?
In celebrating VE Day on a warship that played such an important role in the Allied victory, these young cadets can be proud of Britain's military past and maybe even one day play a role in its future. Anna O'Neill, BBC London.
Well, HMS Belfast was so instrumental in getting us to victory in the Second World War, and she will be a key part of the gun salute that marks the commemorations today a little bit later on this afternoon. For now, back to you, Thomas.
Thanks, Wendy. On board HMS Belfast. Well, much of today's celebrations were in central London, where thousands gathered to watch a military parade and fly past. Among those on the Mall were the families of some veterans who said this was an important and emotional day we should never forget.
I'm not entitled to wear them there, where a serving soldier would have done. So you wear them on the right.
That is the War Medal, the Defence Medal,
39, 45 Star, Burma Star and the Northwest Europe's Star. He was in the Royal Corps of Signals throughout from 1939 till 46, and that was his division, the Polar Bears, 49th West Riding Infantry.
And how does it feel to be wearing those on his behalf when he can't be here?
Very, very proud. Sometimes I get a bit emotional.
You can just feel it in the crowds, like everybody's here to feel like the environment and what it was like. And looking at the videos from the past when everybody was down at the front of Buckingham Palace, it's just a surreal moment, really.
In other news, an investigation is underway into a house fire in West London in which a 79-year-old man died. It happened on Humes Avenue in Hanwell yesterday. Another man managed to get out of the building and was taken to hospital for treatment. Tower Hamlets Council is introducing new rules banning dogs from all gated children's areas. The local authority has approved a public spaces protection order following a spate of dog attacks. The council said most people supported the measure in a public consultation. And that takes us to the weather. Here's Corsa.
Hello there, good afternoon. Well, this change to cooler conditions continues for the rest of this bank holiday Monday. Still quite cloudy out there and there are some further showers, but it does become drier and brighter later. These showers being brought in on that brisk northeasterly wind. In fact, there could be wind gusts quite widely of up to 30 miles per hour. And temperatures this afternoon will only reaching around 13 to 14 Celsius, so below average for the time of year. Now, any showers will tend to fade away. This evening, some late spells of sunshine, some clear spells overnight, some cloud around as well. And temperatures overnight, well, becoming quite chilly, dipping down to around 3 to 5 Celsius. Then for tomorrow, well, high pressure does remain with us, not just tomorrow, but for the rest of the week. And we're going to continue to see some cloud around, but also some increasing spells of sunshine, especially by the end of the week and into the weekend as well. So then you can see a lot of dry weather in the forecast over the next few days. There will be some cloud around as well. Later on in the week, though, it does become sunnier and it becomes warmer for all. Temperatures back into the low 20s.
And that's it from the team here in London on what has been an eventful and poignant day. There will be, of course, much more on our programme this evening at 6:20. And there's many more events and information on the BBC News app. But from me and all the team here in London, have a lovely afternoon. Bye-bye for now.